Welcome to the Mountain Dude Podcast, brought to you by Initial Ascent, where we share stories of grit, determination, and the relentless pursuit of growth. This is a space where backcountry hunting meets the deeper lessons of life. Success born from struggle, and the art of carrying heavy loads more comfortably, both physically and metaphorically, through faith and perseverance. Join us as we explore the paths that shape us, celebrate victories big and small, and fuel our journey with hope and tenacity. This is the Mountain Dude Podcast, where we climb higher together.
Donate the meat,
right.
Like, take 50 pounds back with me. He's like, what? No, I'm going to eat that thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a big old moose.
They're huge, too. That'll be cool.
I can't even fathom. I know I'm just going to be blown away because you see them on TV with a little bit of, perspective. It's like, you'll see like on a post on social with a moose right next to a car or something. And it's like, holy cow.
Are they that big?
Bigger than that car.
Yeah.
Like 8 feet or 9 feet at the shoulder. Like,
which is crazy. I've never seen one in person, or put hands on one. I can't
not
even
one
imagine.
of those.
That's another world.
Yeah. We're going to get, these packs are going to get a workout.
Good.
I like it.
They'll be up for the task for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's all essentially your September?
Most of it, yeah. We leave I think I have to leave here on the 12th or 13th.
Okay.
Drive to Washington, hook up with Phelps, and then drive the rest of the way up.
How long of a drive will that be?
It's like a day and 4 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
So basically 2 days of driving.
And you don't pass many McDonald's on the way.
No, I guess there's places to stay. So
Is that right?
Yeah. I don't know what. I guess we'll have to plan ahead, make sure we got something to eat.
Yeah.
If we don't find anything to eat, I think we'll be all right. But
okay, plenty of snacks.
Yeah.
That's quite a road trip.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
How long are you guys up there for, actually?
I think he said we fly in on the 14th or 16th maybe. I have to look at my notes. And then fly back out on the 3rd, October 3rd.
Oh, wow. So essentially 2 weeks.
Yeah, most of September is going to be gone.
Yeah. I'm surprised you gave up September.
I know, right? I feel really weird about it.
I bet.
But, I think it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
Once in a lifetime
opportunity.
Now, will you have other tags as well?
Got a tag for Kansas whitetail archery. So,
but on that trip, you have a wolf tag.
Oh no, no. They offered us. They're like, oh yeah, if you guys want to shoot a grizzly, like especially once you kill a moose, there'll be a grizzly on the carcass. If you guys want to kill a grizzly, then we'll just charge you the trophy fee. How much is the trophy fee? $10,000. No, thank you.
Holy smokes!
I've already paid for the trophy fee on the moose.
I think if they would have said, oh yeah, $1,000 or a couple $1,000, I could probably dig that out of somewhere.
Round that up.
But it's like, $10,000. Let's see. I'm gonna have to put that hide in the freezer for about a decade before I can get anything done with it. So
right, $10,000. That's a decent change order.
Yeah.
What we call that in my industry.
Yeah. But then, like if you had to pay full price, what is it? It's a $25,000 deal. I don't know.
It is.
It's very expensive.
You got some time to think about that between now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can start
feet pics, right?
I can start.
Isn't that the
feet
thing?
pics.
What do your feet look like? You might be able to make some money here.
My
Dirk.
wife says they're terrible. She makes fun of my feet a lot.
Oh well,
so,
I guess.
Come on,
something else.
Shit. You'd think you'd get more support. Just because she has beautiful feet, maybe we could sell her feet pics.
There you go. When she's not looking.
I see the ideas brewing.
I would see. Yeah, the gears are turning up there.
Yeah, honey, you should go to the spa and get a pedicure done. Get
Actually, I'll pay for it.
Yeah, you should go pay for her.
Wow, that turned out great. Let me get some shots. Can you put them up like this?
Yeah.
Turn like that.
You're bringing out
crazy,
a light.
There's some crazy stuff going on nowadays, man.
It's crazy. Yeah, people are out there just wilding, man. I don't understand, like, the boundaries. There's no boundaries for some of this stuff people are doing. Like, I don't understand.
No, it's weird. Very weird.
Yeah.
Well, Dirk, we start every podcast with a prayer.
Okay.
So, Dennis, do you mind?
Be glad to. Father, thank you for this day, and thank you for everybody gathered here. And we just ask that you bless this time of brotherhood and conversation. And we ask that you bless our listeners out there, and may we be a shining light for somebody out there, and we say something that somebody needs to hear. So we ask this in your humble name. Amen.
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 Thank you. Well, the one and only, the Bugler, Dirk Durham.
Oh, hey there.
Welcome to the Mountain Dude Podcast.
The Mountain Dude?
The Mountain Dude Podcast.
Okay, I almost thought you said Mountain Dew. Like,
are you a Mountain Dew fan?
I love Mountain Dew, but I've drank like 2 of them in the last 3 years because, they're pure poison.
Yeah, they are terrible.
Yeah, I don't know why it took me so long. I mean, especially as a nutritionist by trade, to look at the amount of carbs in 1 can of Mountain Dew.
Oh,
I haven't even looked. I can only imagine.
I wouldn't. Just don't.
I don't know the last time I had a Mountain Dew.
Yeah, it's been so long.
Yeah.
I saw a hat, actually. I digress. In a convenience store that said Mountain Dude, and it was in the Mountain Dew colors.
Oh, okay.
Almost bought it.
Oh,
yeah, you almost had to. I can't believe you didn't.
Almost. But we've got cooler hats, so
it's true. You're not wrong there.
But yeah, Mountain Dew is
dangerous.
Yeah, if I look at one, I just go into insulin shock.
Oh yeah, yeah. It seems like the only time I ever get one is like because we don't buy soda at my house. My wife, she'll buy them LaCroix things. I don't like them. They taste like just fizzy water, but that's all they are.
Yeah.
It's like they stirred the pot with a dirty stick or something. And like, I think I can detect some blackberry. Like get a blackberry on your spoon. I can
taste the blackberry.
Yeah, it's just weird. I'm not into it, but her and my kids love that stuff.
Yeah.
But it seemed like it'd be like at a company function or some weird thing like
right.
They didn't bring water, and there's the only thing there is to drink soda, and then there's that Mountain Dew staring at me. Okay, fine, I'll drink one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Have you ever had the poppies? Or lollipops?
Yeah, those taste really good. I'm like, there's no way these are healthy.
Yeah.
They've got to have a hidden secret.
They're going to figure out something.
There's got to be.
About 10 years.
Yeah.
They
claim there's some probiotics to some of it too. And there probably is a little bit of that. And that's how they kind of supplement all the garbage that's in them. But they're delicious. That's
they are good.
Occasional.
Oh, they're under a lawsuit. Oh, yeah.
Would you look at that?
Imagine that.
Okay.
Chase is a smart guy. Don't listen to what I say on this podcast.
Right. Well, I heard on the radio, or I don't know, maybe it's on TikTok or something. They were talking about Poppy had just sold here in the last year or so to one of the big soda companies. I can't remember if it's Pepsi or who, but multi-billion-dollar deal. It's like giant, like astronomically huge number that they got bought for.
Really?
It's like, holy cow.
I think the first time I heard about them was like a Super Bowl commercial. And I'm thinking, I've never heard of this, but gosh, they must have something going on.
Yeah.
They're good.
Must be selling a few.
They taste Super Bowl money.
Yeah. No kidding. Hey, that's what you could do. I just thought about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you were just talking about we need to pay for this moose hunt, right?
Yeah.
You could. I just lost my thought. I had it there. Okay, maybe that sugar is bad.
I think I knew where you were going with that. Were you thinking Dirk needs to have a Super Bowl ad? Is that what you were saying?
That's what it is.
But then he's got to come up with the $10 million or something for 15 seconds or whatever it is.
Hey, I know.
No, that's what it was. The lawsuit. You could get a part of that Poppy lawsuit.
Yeah. Poppy made me fat.
They did something. Exactly. There's something wrong with the sugars. That'll pay for your bear hunt.
Yeah, I was on a diet. I was looking good. And then pretty soon, I started drinking Poppy. And next thing you know, I'm overweight. I'm entitled to my check.
I think you got it.
I'm going to call J.G. Wentworth. my money and I want it now.
I want it now.
Well, on today's podcast, we'll get to a lot of things. Obviously, we brought you in to talk elk hunting because why else would we not want to talk elk hunting with one of the best elk callers of all time? I noticed you brought a diaphragm. It's not pink.
Yeah.
Do you need me to try to find you a pink one?
I mean, I could, but Jason would probably feel bad if I blew it because he'd be like, "Oh man, don't blow it like that. People think it's bad." Well, it is. Like, it's not. It doesn't sound good. He's been he's been fleecing people saying his diaphragm is good all these years. It turns out it's not good at all. It's real bad. It makes bad noises. Doesn't sound like an elk. Wears out quick.
So Maverick only.
Maverick only. Yep.
Understandable.
So it's Maverick will fix everything for you.
Everything.
Dog left, ran away. Maverick. Wife left you. Maverick. Can't kill an elk.
Call
Maverick.
right back.
Perfect.
This podcast sponsored by Maverick.
No.
Yeah. So we'll get to a little bit of that, but let's talk about your backstory a little bit, Dirk. Where are you from?
I'm a born and raised Idahoan.
Don't hear that a whole lot.
Yeah. Native Idaho. Yeah. Born in little town of Grangeville, Idaho. It's up kind of north central Idaho on a stormy May night. My mom said her water broke and there was a huge thunderstorm, lightning and thunder and rain, torrential downpour. And they, my folks lived in this little town, Weippe, which, when as a kid I think had a population of 828 people. Now it's probably 400 people. I'm not sure. But, it's about an hour and a half drive from there to the hospital. Right. So my dad gets in the car and just starts driving, as fast as he can on this stormy night.
And that's not a straight road.
No, it's. I always say in that part of the country they followed a gut shot deer when they made the road. There's not a straight piece of. Well, you get up on the Camas Prairie over by Grangeville. There's some straight stretches. Yeah. Until you can get going about 100, and then there's a sharp left turn, right turn,
and a little don't tell you about.
Yeah, into a little coulee, and then you got to slow way down and then hammer on it again. Yep. But I grew up in that country there. It's beautiful area.
That is a beautiful area.
It is.
Yeah,
I love it up
certain
there.
Times of the year.
Yep. Mm-hmm. There's some really, really cool country up there. Yep. It's unique too. You can get a little bit of everything in that area.
Yeah. Weippe, that's, for a history lesson, that's where Lewis and Clark met the Nez Perce Indians. Okay. And Lewis and Clark came across, if you know the story, Lewis and Clark came across the Bitterroot Mountains and almost starved to death. There was no game, all the backcountry, all the mountains was void of game. They would come through in September, October, and there was no elk, no deer, nothing to hunt. I guess some of their scouting party got way off down by the Lochsaw River and killed an elk or something. But so they ate their horses, they ate their dogs, they ate their saddle leather. The leather from your saddle, how hungry you got to be to tear your saddle apart and boil the leather and eat it. They ate their candle wax. They ate anything that they could.
How did I miss this part of the story in elementary school?
Yeah, that's the part they don't share.
That's true.
And then they finally get out of the mountains. They get to Weippe, and Weipe's kind of like a plateau, kind of a prairie up in that area. And the Nez Perce seen them, seen them first. And they're like, They didn't know what to think because these men had upside down faces because they had beards, right? They'd never seen a man with a beard before. And then they had they had eyes like fish. They had blue eyes. So they were just like, what do we do with these people? Should we kill them or should we help them? And Sacagawea had been helped by some a white fur trader guy, French guy. And she's like, no, don't kill them. They're nice. They're kind. They'll help. They're good. They're good people. Let's help them. So they helped them. They're like, all right. So they helped them. And after living on that weird diet of all that weird stuff, well, then the natives gave them their food, which about made them crap themselves to death because their digestive tract was not ready for that, Yeah. But they nursed them back to health, and then they took them down to the river, down to the Clearwater River, and by where Orfino is now, and they all worked together and dug out canoes. So you follow a ponderosa pine tree, and then you build a fire on top of it and let it burn down, and then you take an axe and chop out the burnt stuff, and then do it again until you have a canoe. So you can imagine the labor that this required.
Drastic amounts of it.
Which it took them a long time, and I think they weren't the healthiest group, because there were still issues with getting enough food and vitamins and whatever else. But
it's not in saddle leather.
Yeah, but these guys are working like dogs. They get their canoes built, and then anyway, they jump in the river and go all the way down the Clearwater to the Columbia and on out to the West Coast there. But anyway, that's the long story.
Yeah,
and met right there at
Weippe. Yeah, that's right.
I did not know that.
The Lewis and Clark expedition was saved. The Nez Perce were probably thinking, now we should have killed them. We should have killed them suckers. It didn't bode very well for those folks later on. But anyhow, it's right there at the gateway of the Bitterroots. You got all the low country, you got all the back country, and it's my kind of pretty.
Yeah.
I love all mountains and landscapes, but it's my kind of pretty.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it was a stormy night when your mom's water gave way.
Yeah.
Or was that a sign to your parents?
Probably should have been. It's funny, like when I have a stormy night come along, though, I feel like energized, and I kind of, how the horses and stuff run around the pasture and like act up when a big storms are brewing. Man, I kind of feel like energized.
That's you.
I don't know if that's just coincidence. Maybe we all feel like that, but man, a big old thunderstorm comes through. I'm all about it.
Right.
I love it.
And I don't know if that's part of that's when I was born, or maybe we all get that way.
Could be.
Yeah.
Huh. Have you been elk hunting or just hunting in general your whole life?
Yeah. Yep.
So you grew up in a family of hunters?
Yeah, grew up. Yeah, my dad, he was never a bow hunter. He was always one of those guys that say the damn bow hunters. They gut shot everything. They can't kill anything with a bow. And he was one of those guys. He hated bow hunters because all the guys at work would, how it is. Your peers, you get to talking about, I found a dead elk with an arrow in it or whatever. So of course, the ones that people find that were rifle killed, you can't see the
arrow sticking
out of them, so they get a bad rap. But yeah, he's a big hunter, and then but by the time I was old enough to hunt, he was pretty much done. My dad was 50 years old when I was born.
No kidding.
Wow. Yeah. 50. So he started a family at my age. I'm 51. Yeah. He started a family at I have some brothers, but I think he started a family like when he was 40. And then I was born. I was kind of an oops mistake come along. No wonder he's so grumpy. I can't imagine having a child at 50 years old, a brand new baby. I'm like, I have a grandbaby, which is awesome.
Because you get to send it back with mom.
I get to send it back. No, he's not going to sleep through the night. Yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
But anyhow, yeah. So, yeah.
Grew up in a family of rifle hunters. What got you into archery hunting?
Yep. Let's see. I must have been 14 years old. One summer we were out cutting firewood, and there's this old fire pond out in the woods, and we've been seeing bear tracks around it. I'm like, man, it's almost bear season. When bear season hits, I'm going to be sitting right over there by that big ponderosa pine tree, and I'm going to shoot that bear on opening morning. So my dad dropped me off at like hour before light, about a half a mile from that pond, and I walked in the dark, and I sat there and just ready to go. And I sat there, and the sun comes up, and I hear brush popping and stuff. I'm like, oh, here comes the bear. It's gonna be awesome. And out walks some elk. It was like 3 cows and a raghorn bull, and I'm watching them. It's like, it's opening day of archery season too. Man, I wish I had a bow. They were like 20 yards away, 15 yards away. I'm like, I could just totally kill those things. So I, raised up and act like I was shooting them with them. And they, I was doing real slow and stuff. They weren't paying a bit of attention. I'm like, oh man, I could totally kill that elk. So they played around the water, got a drink, and splashed around and left. And about noon, my dad comes and picks me up. I'm like, all right, first thing we got to do, we're driving to Orfino, and we're going to buy some arrows. I had a bow. I'd played around with bows since I was little, but recurves. I had this Bear Kodiak Magnum, and I had like 2 arrows for this thing. I had one aluminum arrow, like a XX75, or no, it was a Game Getter, one of the Game Getter arrows, aluminum arrows. And when I bought that one arrow, I'm like, Dad, let's get some of these, you have to have an insert you glue in and then you screw a tip on it. He's like, no, I'll just make one. So we got home and he took a piece of steel rod and that was about that long and started grinding on it and got it ground down to where it fit in there. And then he epoxied it in. The tip had to weigh 400 grains. So you're like
shooting a Lincoln lock.
Yeah, you're just lobbing that thing. So he couldn't.
Front of center was pull off.
Yeah.
90%.
Eat your heart out, Ranch Fairy. I invented front of center. but so I had that arrow, and then I had like a cedar arrow. So I mean, you can't shoot consistently with that. But I'm like, okay, we're gonna go to town and buy some arrows and broadheads, and I'm gonna come back and an elk tag, and I'll come back tomorrow and I'll kill that elk. He's like, you're not doing that. I'm like, yes, I am. He's like, you don't have any money. Give me some money. No. You're just gonna go wound that elk. Nope. I said, all right, well, next summer I'm gonna save all my money and I'm gonna buy all my own stuff, and you can't really say nothing about it. Yeah, whatever. So the next summer came and I went to work for local farmers putting up hay all summer, and I had enough money to buy a brand new bow, dozen arrows, release, all decked out, and camo. I had I had a polar fleece jacket, woodland camo, and some just standard looking. They looked like army fatigue pants, but they were like the ones you get probably at Walmart or somewhere. Well, I mean, Walmart didn't even exist then. Well, at least in Idaho. So I got them at Shopko or who knows where. But anyhow, I got all my camo. I didn't even have a camo shirt. I would just wear whatever t-shirt I had. I just zip my coat up and sweat. Anyway, practiced all summer, bought some elk calls, practiced all summer, and I felt like, I caught on to elk calling really quickly. I seemed to, I can manipulate this reed. I'm like, it kind of sounds good. One day we're out cutting firewood, and I'd sit there and I'd bugle in the woods and listen to it and bugle. Pretty soon ravens came from everywhere. I was like, that's not a good sign. I'm drawing in ravens with my elk calls. I think something's dying over here.
Predator call over here.
But I had never even heard an elk bugle other than had a VHS tape that a high school teacher had put together. It was like 7 hours of movies that he had the old double. He'd play one and record off the other one onto this VHS tape and have 7 hours elk hunting on
the original pirate.
Yeah. There was Elk Fever, the Larry Jones and all of them old, the old pioneers of elk hunting on there. But it wasn't really instructional. It was just like, these guys, and you've watched Elk Fever. I feel like they did a lot of B-roll to put the hunting sequence together, which they probably had a camera as big as a VW bus out filming, so I get it. But that's like, okay, that's what that guy sounds like, and this is what the elk sound like, so I could kind of try to mimic that. And then some local guy, there's a local guy, this kid that I hung out with, and him and his dad were big into archery. I'd go over and shoot. They had a target, one of those big stacked up cardboard targets, and his dad was a big time bow hunter. He had a big giant elk rack in his house and lots of deer antlers, and I'm like, hey, me and my best friend, we went over, hey, Rick, you got to teach us how to call. You got to teach us how to do this. He's like, well, all right, I guess I could probably do that for you boys. He gets out his bugle and he's like, I do this a lot differently than a lot of people. We're just like, oh, this is going to be so good. He's like, yeah, most people hold their tube to the left. I turn mine to the right. And then he bugles on it. It's like, oh, that's awful. I'm thinking to myself, that's awful. And this guy don't know jack squat about calling elk.
I can do this.
Yeah, we're like, all right,
I'm set.
Thanks. See you later. He's like, wait, I want to show you my bow. He's like, yeah, check out this quiver I made. And he took a welding rod, like a plastic box welding rods that come in, and the lid was, picture the hood of a quiver. He'd homemade, welded some stuff and screwed some stuff on there, and he'd made his own quiver and bolted onto his bow, and he'd shoot it, and that thing would go make a great big old twang, rattle noise. And I'll make you guys one if you want one. So, I think I'm good. Thanks, Rick. But that's how I kind of got into calling. And the first day of season, my best friend and I, Randy, we go out and we'd scouted, and there's one of the farmers we knew from haying and stuff, and he's like, yeah, you guys can come hunt elk. And we get out there, and there's elk in the field. And I start bugling. Well, the bull's already bugling. I'm going to start to bugle, but I don't have my tube. I just have my diaphragm. I forgot my tube at home. Imagine that. Well, my buddy Randy, he's got a tube, but he forgot his diaphragms at home. Like, give me that tube and I'll call that elk in. No. He didn't want to do that. We're definitely working against it. It was like competing against each other to try to kill this elk. No teamwork involved. So dumb.
He didn't ask you for your diaphragm.
well, I said, hey, give me that tube. And he's like, well, give me that diaphragm. I'm like, no. No. Well,
first of all, that's gross.
That's gross. Yeah, that's yucky. You don't want to do that. So he did have one of these little bite and blow cow calls. It's called Cow Talk by ELK Inc. I think they make those power bugles and stuff still. I think you can still buy that elk or Cow Talk on the internet if you look hard enough. But it's like a bite and blow. It's like this little plastic thing that's kind of arched. Look like basically like two credit cards, shape of two credit cards are kind of like arched in the middle. And then you got like a black rubber band in the middle. So you bite down on it and it puts tension on the rubber band and you blow on it. It sounds more like a weird bird than it does an elk, but elk, they'll answer it. And, so he jabbed that thing in the end of his tube and started bugling on it. It sounded terrible, but the bull by then had moved off, a couple hundred yards. Still in the field, and it was like a wheat field that hadn't been cut yet, so the wheat was really tall. It had kind of a wet summer that year, so it was September. They hadn't cut their wheat yet, and he bends over and puts his bow up on top of his head, kind of like an elk rack, and he puts that tube down and he starts running and bouncing through that wheat and bugling, and then he kind of just disappeared out there. That bull looked up at him and just made a beeline right at him.
Oh, wow. No way.
I think there was a calf too, like a calf running over there, and then that bull's like, yep, no, runs over there, and he stops. I'm like, man, that thing has to be running him over. That thing's got to be standing on him. And pretty soon the bull kind of jumps around and looks real weird and kind of jumps around again and takes off running. Well, after the elk clear the field, then Randy comes over to me and he's like, I'm like, what happened? He's like, I shot twice, missed him both times. Right between his legs. How close was he? I don't know, 10 yards.
Oh, my God.
No kidding.
And the next day, I think it was the next day, we were out there, and we're splitting up. We both got all of our calls. All right, we got to split up. We can't have this two guys vying for the same bull. We're going to both split up. So we both split up. And there's elk everywhere. There's bulls bugling all over the place. So he takes off, and I take off, and I chase around these elk, and he comes back to the truck. He don't have an arrow left. He's got one of those, I think he had 8 arrows in his quiver or something, one of those big quivers. I'm like, where's all your arrows? He's like, I shot them all. And his arrows were longer than mine, so he couldn't borrow mine. I'm like, what happened? He's like, man, I called in, I shot an arrow at every single arrow I shot at an elk. Oh. And I missed every single one of them. I'm like, how did you shoot? I don't know. Because he, shooting targets, he was actually better shot than me. He was just drilling. We'd put a milk jug lid on the target and at 20 yards. Man, he was just nailing that milk jug lid. He was a great shot. Yeah. How do you missing these things? I don't know. Well, years later, he kind of told the story. He's he was in a tree stand and he pulled back and he's going to shoot this elk from the tree stand. And he was about ready to touch it off. And then he kind of had a moment wait a minute, I'm not even looking at my sights. All these years, he said, I've been just pulling back and just shooting. I haven't been looking at I haven't been looking through my peep sight. I haven't been even looking at my sights.
Oh, my God. No.
So he's like, oh, and he let down, and he's like, okay, drew back, peep sight, put the sight on the cow, wham, nailed her. And that was his first elk with a bow. So sometimes you just kind of lose it in the middle of a shot.
Sometimes you just got to look through your peep sight.
Sometimes.
Some of those things are hard for some people to remember. Yeah. I mean, I've shot bulls that I literally don't remember checking my bubble, which I do on every shot all summer.
Yeah.
Second bull I put an arrow in, I was a full draw for over a minute, and I'm like, I don't know if I checked my bubble or anything.
Didn't even look at it.
It was 15 yards, so I just sent it.
Yeah.
I didn't recover that bull.
First animal I drew back on, I couldn't feel my face So I didn't know where I was anchored.
Oh.
Goodness.
My eyes were doing weird things.
Yeah.
I was just, it was kind of a little panic moment.
That
or
first
whatever.
one is always like my first
man.
bull. My knees, I remember, literally they were clanging together, and this bull's raking and bugling at like 50 yards, and I couldn't stand up almost like and I've killed elk with a rifle. I've killed like 5 or 6 elk with a rifle at this point. My knees are just, and I'm like, literally had to hold him. I'm like, calm down, Chris, dude. Like, it's just another bull. Like, you'll be all right.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Straighten it out.
So you were how old on this?
15.
You were 15.
Okay.
Yeah. So then the third day of season, my buddy, he gets in trouble. Been mouthing off to his old man and gets grounded.
Not good.
So my mom, I don't have a driver's license. Before that, he had a driver's license, so he let him drive. Well, I don't have a driver's license at this point. So my mom, she takes me out to elk hunt. And we go to a different spot. And there's elk out in this field. And there's bull, chasing cows around. We get up in the timber, up in the state ground where it's all timber. I start calling, and man, he's just eating it up, just answering. And I didn't know what to do, but I thought it makes sense to me. It's logical to act like an elk. Like, what do elk do? Well, they bugle back and forth. They get towards each other. They role. I'm role playing as an elk, and I'm like, this just makes sense to act like an elk. That way, he'll come to me. So it worked like a charm. Well, there's this old logging road there, and there was a road grader parked. I'm like, I got to get past this road grader for him to come into the right spot. I don't want to have him come in on the other side of the road grader. So I get up in front of the road grader, hide in the bushes, and keep calling. Pretty soon, here he comes. Walks right out in that old logging road, 15 yards, wham, shoot him, runs off. Oh, my God, I can't believe that just happened. And I went back to the truck, and my mom's there. I'm like, you'll never believe it. Did you hear what happened? She's like, I heard the whole thing. I could hear it. She was, she's probably a quarter mile away. And I'm like, all right, go home. And she went home to get my dad to get our other truck, our old beater woods truck, that we haul firewood in. Go get him and bring him back. We'll go find this elk. So she goes back. Well, my dad had told me, he's like, at the beginning of summer or at the end of summer, he could see like I'd spent all this money on the stuff, and he's like, all right, well, I can see you're pretty serious about this. If you kill a bull elk, I'll pay you back for all this money you've invested. I'm like,
ooh, that was a good deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's thinking, this kid ain't never going to kill an elk with this stupid bow.
He was pretty safe in his investment.
Yeah. So she goes back. She's like, well, you better get your checkbook and your come along, because Dirk killed an elk. He's like, he did not kill an elk. Yes, he did. What? He couldn't believe it. So he came out there and tracked the blood. And he ran a ways. It was a good high long shot, but not a lot of blood. Just you shoot them above that center line, they bleed internally more, but enough to trail. And we found him, and we were able to pull the truck right up to him and load him whole with a come along.
Great.
My dad always told me it adds 200 inches if you can load them whole.
I think it was a booner.
I bet your dad was proud.
He was. My dad was not a guy who always said, oh, I love you. He wasn't an affectionate kind of guy, but you could just tell, and he told everybody he knew, like, did you see that elk Dirk killed? He would tell everybody about it. So yeah, it was a pretty proud moment, I think. For him.
He sounds a lot like my dad. My dad never really, kind of let me know how he felt, until a lot later in life. But I would hear about, him telling stories about, what I'd done or, something like that.
So cool.
Yeah, very similar there.
Have you been did you get him into the archery realm?
So the next year, well, he's seeing all this all play out, and he's like, I think I want to go do it. And I'm like, all right. So my buddy, Randy, sold my dad his old bow, and he bought a brand new one. And Randy had a pawn shop bow, so my dad's like, I'll buy it from you. So he bought it. And so the next year, opening morning, we go back to the same spot we were at the year before on opening morning, and we get out, and it's the same story. Elk were always at this place. To this day, I'm sure there's elk there in September. I mean, it's just beautiful spot. They don't let anybody hunt now, but we get out of the truck, and we're all, we may make our moves and call around, and we don't kill anything. And we get back to the truck. My dad's like, starts slapping his pocket. He's like, where are my keys at? Oh man, I've lost my keys. And pretty soon we were looking around here and there, and he had a big toolbox in the back of his truck, and he'd kind of he must have grabbed his bow and just threw the keys in there. And I'm like, and I'd ask him, did you get excited? Oh, I wasn't that excited this morning. I'm like, well, where's your keys at? Oh, he got pretty excited with it, but
yeah,
he went out quite a few times, but he never did kill anything. He never did. He had bad knees, at this point,
Yeah.
He's 65 years old and bad knees, so he couldn't. And back then, he needed a knee replacement. They kept saying, "Oh, you're too young. You need to come back in 5 years, tough it out for 5 years before you get your knee replacement." Because if we replace it now, we're gonna have to replace it again in 5 years. So he had to tough it out. So anyway, he couldn't walk that far. So,
right.
But he never did kill one with his bow. But he got a chance to hear him bugle and enjoy it a little bit. So.
Yeah, man, that's cool. That's special. I'm sure you still look back on some of those memories. And so you've been hunting elk with a bow for how many years now?
Since 1989. So what is that, 36 years maybe?
A long time.
I'd have to get out my calculator. I'm not a mathematician by any way, shape, or form. See, might have what is it? Your left side of the brain is like the creative side, and the right side is like mathematics. I don't even think I have a right side. My left side's big, fat.
It kind of took over.
That's funny. So over that time, how do you think your elk hunting, like archery elk hunting, has evolved? Do you do things a lot different now?
I do things somewhat different, but like that same foundational idea of. And I think this is where some people just kind of go wrong. They go out there, they're a hunter. They're trying to be a hunter and use elk calls to call in an elk. And it's weird as it sounds like, I sound like one of those kids that go LARPing in the park on Sundays, and dress up and have the wooden swords and sword fight.
What'd you call that?
LARPing. Live action role play.
I didn't even know the acronym for that.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Yeah, they go to
learn something new.
Yeah, they dress up like medieval warriors and maidens and go to the park and
hey, Dirk, how do you know so much about this?
Well, I've seen a video on the
internet. your secret's safe with us and all of our listeners.
Yeah, they all have a really cool name. Nickname. Lord Bugler.
That's perfect.
But anyway, I kind of
spit out that drink.
I kind of feel like those kind of folks whenever I say you want to role play with these elk, I kind of turn into an elk brain. It's like, man, I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna go fight this elk, and that's kind of what part of me for a longest time. And now I kind of that isn't working as much anymore. It seems like you got to be a lot more strategic. You got to be super strategic. I used to just get them calling. I would just call my way all the way right to them. And eventually they would just kind of start moving off, And that flat country around where I grew up, it was fine because you could push them and catch them. But you go to the backcountry, that's a whole different story. You start doing that, and pretty soon they're gone. You can't keep up. So
when you say you're calling straight to them, I assume you're bugling.
I'm bugling and cow calling. As I'm moving up. Every time they bugle and cow call, I bugle and advance and advance and advance and advance. But a lot of times, and I've killed elk, a lot of elk that way, but especially in that flat country. But what typically will happen is they hear you coming. They're like, oh, okay, come on, girls. And they start pushing their cows away. It's like, let's get out of here. Let's avoid this confrontation until some point. Usually if you can push them far enough, they get frustrated and they get a good spot. Okay, my cows are going to be safe right here. They'll turn around and come back to fight you. In that flat country, you can do that easily, but in the mountains, where it's steep and rugged, and especially North Idaho, it's brushy as all get out, and there ain't much of that time that goes by, and pretty soon they're just outdistancing you. So being more of a strategic thing, you locate them at a distance and then cut the calls. Just shut up and it's like, all right, look at my Onyx. How do I get there? Where are they at? And then just start hiking. And sometimes it'll take you half the day to hike to them because it's just such nasty, nasty, steep stuff. And I think coincidentally, that's kind of where, we start finding success in that midday when they're bedding area, because you've kept track of them. You can hear them bugle on their own a lot of times, and as you're working your way to them, And then you kind of figure out where they're bedded and get in there and get close to them.
The wind's pretty consistent that time of day, too.
Yep.
So you're not a midday napper?
If I haven't heard any bugles for a long time, or if I know there's elk around, it's like they're just not talking. Maybe I'll sit down and maybe we'll take a little nap, but sit down, do a bunch of calling, then kind of wait and listen. And by the time you start getting sleepy and want to fall asleep, that's usually about the time the silent ones come in. So, so be careful of calling and then taking a nap where you've been calling, because sometimes they'll come in and catch you napping.
Does that strategy change based off time of the year too? Like during the season, like do you change your tactics the first week of September, second week, third week? Is any of that changing?
No,
you're pretty consistent.
Yep. I'm always looking for one that's going to bugle and wants to fight, And
you're using location bugles to locate them.
And like early season, forever I heard a lot of people say, "Oh, don't bugle so much in the early season. You want to cow call a lot." And I used to do that a lot, but I just never found that much luck early, especially if you're not seeing bulls with cows like that first week, then bulls, in my experience, they just don't really respond to cow calls well. There's 30 cows over there. There ain't a single bull with them. You start cow calling, you don't hear any bulls replying. It's like, they're not really, that's not the mode they're in yet. They know those cows haven't come into heat yet. Because if they start coming into heat, there'll be a bull with them. Now, if there's bulls actively chasing cows, I'll definitely use cow calls more. But so that early season, that first week, that first 5 to 10 days of season, which Idaho starts August 30th. So that first 5-10 days, then I'm more bugle heavy, and I don't get super aggressive. I just kind of mediocre level bugles. I try to get up close. Like it seems like once the bulls kind of, and there's probably going to be somebody that says, it's not the way. Well, at least where I've been hunting, the bulls have spent the summer together, shed their velvet, spread out, and then they kind of stage up before they, somewhere close to the cows. And it seems like there'll be a bull on this ridge, there'll be a bull on this ridge, there'll be a bull on this ridge. And it's kind of like when Rocky went to Siberia and trained to fight the big Russian dude. They go over here in solitary and they're over there doing push-ups and chin-ups. No, they're over there they're raking their horns. And you'll find these places, you'll find them mid-September where you can tell earlier in the month, like the first of the month, where there's a bull bed, it smells like a bull piss. You'll see rubs all around in there, in that area. And then, but come mid to late September, those bulls are long gone. Well, they stage up, they prepare, and then once they catch that first whiff of a cow in heat or whatever, or that maybe they just know. I don't know. I think maybe they're always checking. They leave their little hidey hole and go sniff, go check. Well, there's nothing going on here. I'll go back up and train. Good. More time to train. Like Jocko. Good. But anyhow, then during that period, if you can get on their little ridge and bugle, they're like, hey, they're pretty defensive of their space. Like, hey, man, this is my spot. And they'll come over. Yeah. But it seems to me it's more out of a curiosity. I don't hear that. You don't hear that bugle like, oh man, he's going to kill me. And here, wow, that you don't hear that big, huge mood swing in his voice. It seems like just more even keel type bugling. And then pretty soon here he comes and he's just like, who the heck are you? I thought we sorted all this out already. What are you doing on my spot?
You want to break out that Carbon and Maverick and kind of give us an example of some of those medium tones
now, hopefully,
that you're using early?
Yeah. Now I've talked this Maverick up a lot, so this one's brand new out of the
pressure.
So, I mean, hopefully it sounds okay. And it's probably 2 or 3 years old.
Doesn't have an expiration date, does it?
No, but it's got the plastic packaging instead of the new clamshell on it.
Oh, yeah.
But, Oh, yeah. Okay, so I probably would never get too much more aggressive than this call right here in that early season.
Okay.
That's like the pinnacle of aggression.
Okay.
But as I'm working this bull, as he's replying, a lot of times in that early stage, get that moany bugle, that,
That's my favorite.
So then I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to do that moany bugle to them. And he just kind of keep pecking at them until their voice changes. And then they'll maybe, after a while, especially if you get close to them, if you're like, all right, you hear them at a distance, get over there, you get close and you start doing that. And then their voice changes. Like they're like, hey, get out of here. You can hear them say it in their voice, like, get out of here. And then that's when.
What are you considering close in this scenario?
100 yards.
Okay.
100 yards less.
So you're in tight.
I want to be 100 yards or less from this bull. So I try to pinpoint where it's at, make a mark on my Onyx. If it's some country, I can kind of tell. Mm-hmm. And then I get to my spot that I mark, and my head's on a swivel. I'm looking, and as I get to that mark, I'm looking for places to set up as well. It's like, okay, if that bull were where I think he is, where would he come from? And where would I have a shot? Would he be able to see me from like 70 yards, or is he going to have to come to like 25 yards to see me? Right. So then I'm making that determination the whole time. Like, okay, where is a good spot to set up? And sometimes I'll see a spot that's pretty close to my mark I made that looks like a better setup. I was like, okay, I'm going to just stop right here because this is a really good spot. He's going to have to come in really close for him to see me. That way, the odds of me getting a shot are really good.
Right.
A lot of times, a lot of folks will say, yeah, I get bulls bugling. I get them coming in. I get them come in, but they always hang up. I can never get them to come past that. So then I'm like, okay, explain to me your setup. And it's always like, you had a really good shooting lane over here. I had a really good shooting lane over here. And a really good, like, how far was your shooting? Like, 50, 60 yards.
Oh, so too big of
it's too much, too open, right? Too open, yeah. Because the bull is going to come as far as he can to the very spot where he can stop and visually look and see that other bull.
And they're incredible at like pinpointing that spot.
Oh yeah,
like it is the spot.
Yeah, they can come and stand right in your tracks.
Yeah,
they know.
It's incredible.
So if you leave that open to where, I've got a great, I could shoot 60 yards here. Well, that bull's going to stop at 60 yards, and what he's probably going to do is he's going to poke his head out, and you're going to see part of his neck and maybe the edge of his shoulder, and he's going to get out there in that shooting lane and look.
And he doesn't see anything.
And he don't see no other bulls. And a lot of times what people will do at this point, too, that's a big, huge mistake. I see it on YouTube all the time, is there's a bull within sight, and he just hung up. They start cow calling. They start meow, meow, meow. And then you can just tell, like, the bull's like, what?
Out of thin air?
I don't see, there's no cows over here. Pretty soon they're like, yeah, I'm out of here. So if you've been calling and a bull comes in and you're pinned down, don't make another word. Like, if you don't have a shot, don't say anything. Let him, because 9 times out of 10, well, not 9 times, like 50% of the time, he might just kind of look a little bit. It's like, I don't see elk. I'm going to come a little closer. I'm going to walk across this shooting lane. I'm going to do whatever to try to get a little different position, just like we would, right?
Right.
But if you're like sitting there consistently, meow, meow, making cow calls or bugling with him in full sight, it doesn't take very long for him to like see that the jig's up.
Yeah.
So
just be patient in that.
Yeah.
Now, in that same scenario, you eventually, from what I've experienced, is that bull gets bored or doesn't see what he wants to see. You don't get winded. He turns and leaves. Do you do anything in particular now in that scenario? Because what I've had luck with in the past is I will then get aggressive. And usually that's when I've seen bulls turn. Have you experienced similar things, or is there something that you do when he turns in that scenario?
That's exactly what I do.
Okay.
So a lot of time, depending on the scenario, let's say he came in and didn't see nothing. Some bulls will come in and they'll want to rub. They'll want to rake their horns for ever. They'll rake and bugle. They just won't commit. They're kind of waiting for you to kind of show yourself. But eventually, if you have this go on for 5-10 minutes, pretty soon that bull loses interest. He's like, yeah, you're a chump. I'm not, you're not a threat. I'm out of here. And as soon as they turn around and leave, if you don't like make a move in that very instant, if they walk out completely out of sight or walk 100 yards from you, you're over. Like that game's over. And that bull may not even ever bugle to you anymore, just because he's like, I wasted my time. You're nothing. So to your point, as soon as they turn their back in those situations, I scream them most bloody murder scream you've ever heard, and I run right at him. I just charge, charge. And sometimes I've had it to where, it's thick, but not super thick, where, you got to be careful. So you can kind of partially see the bull as he's leaving. And as he leaves, I'll run and scream. They'll stop and turn, and they'll stop and look. And it's like red light, green light. As soon as they stop and look, I just freeze and hope that I'm in a comfortable spot. And sometimes then things will stop and stare forever looking for that other bull. And sometimes they'll pause, they'll look, and then they'll go on. And as soon as they start going ahead and take another step and turn their head to go away, I scream again and run up another 2 or 3 steps, whatever I can get on. I'm trying to just gain ground. And this has worked great, several times. Biggest bull I ever killed, I did this. And I think I did it 6 different times. I ran on him 6 times. But that sucker, the way the hillside was, it was got this big kind of rolly ridge I was on. And he would always stop and look back. And I never had a shot at his shoulder. He was just top of his hump and his neck. And he'd just turn around and look. And then I thought it looked like I could gain about 3 more steps. I set my bugle down and I got about 3 more steps. I screamed and took 3 steps real quick. And I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to get him here. And then he took another couple steps to where he was out. Well, then I don't have my bugle. It's back there, 5 yards away or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that was stupid. Never set your bugle down in this game. Right. But I did. And my buddy that I was literally calling this bull in for a friend of mine, but he set up in the brush. He got down and got stuck in this brush pocket when he was getting set up, and the bull went right by him. And it was so brushy, he couldn't even see the bull, at 10 yards going by. And the bull came to me. So at that very moment, I thought to myself, I put every bit of every bit of thought power I had, just sending a message to my buddy Brent, Brent, if you ever bugle again, ever in your life, bugle now. Bugle now.
You're sending the wavelength.
This is my final. If he takes any more steps, he's going to be gone forever. And at that very moment, my buddy Brent bugled.
Would you look at that?
And that bull turned and come around, and I got a 30-yard shot on him.
Wow.
And yeah, I don't know. It's
so
happenstance.
Cool.
And I said, Brent, why'd you bugle? He's like, I was wondering where the heck you were. I hadn't heard you bugle for a little bit. So I bugled to see where you were at.
Oh, shit.
That worked perfect.
It worked good, man. Yeah. You did it. I got him. So,
man, that's awesome.
But yeah, that tactic works. But you can't do it in some areas where, if you're out in the sagebrush country, you can't do that.
Right.
But if you're in areas pretty wooded, a lot of timber and stuff, you can get away with that stuff.
So if the situation you're describing is if that bull hung up and just kind of got uninterested on his own and started walking away, it wasn't like he barked and he's going. Can you use that same tactic if they do that?
Yeah,
because they're getting out of there for a different reason now. Right.
Well, a lot of times that when they come in, they'll do that and they'll bark and they'll chuckle and they'll bark. A lot of times they're like that. They're not scared. They're just kind of communicating. Hey, show yourself. I came all this way. You said you wanted to fight. Where are you at? They're just wanting you to present yourself at that time. Show your cards.
Dirk, real quick, before you explain that, will you give us some barks and some chuckles for the listeners that are newer to elk calling?
So they'll kind of bark. And then they'll bark again, and then they'll do a bark and then start chuckling. I mean, it's not like that every time, but a lot of times they do that, and I don't know why. Sometimes, but that's if the bull's a chuckler. Now, if it's a bark, if it's a screamer, if the bull's just been screaming the whole time and he hasn't really been chuckling or grunting when he comes in, if he's just a bark and a scream, then I'll just do the bark and scream at him. So if he's been screaming the whole time, I'll do a bark and a scream.
So you answer him back with, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Just do a bark scream at him. And then that'll be they're like, okay, it's still game on. This guy still wants to. But if you hunker down and do that and don't move, he'll be like, yeah, whatever. So you have to give him something. So I've done that before, which I took 5 steps. He heard me, and I broke every branch I could. Took 5 steps, and he heard me coming. And he's like, "Oh, I got to see this." Pops right out. Other times it's like you have to go maybe halfway. Let's say they're 50 yards, go 25 yards. And make all the noise you can, stomping, breaking brush. I might even scream twice in that 25 yards. Especially if it's a big bull. If you know if he's big, chances are he'll stick around. Like some of the smaller bulls, they might get intimidated by that. But like mature bulls will definitely hold their ground. And then if anything, they'll want to kind of see. And a lot of times, people are worried that, he's going to come in frontal. A lot of times they won't. They'll just kind of come out sideways. They want to make themselves look big, right? If you ever watch bulls posture up with each other, they kind of come together and then they walk parallel, kind of show each other off, and kind of sway around and move their racks around, trying to look big. That's what they're going to do. A lot of times, I have had them turn frontal, but then they'll always kind of get broadside if you wait long enough. But not always, but most of the time they'll do that.
And that is a great tip too, because I feel like people rush that scenario when that bull comes in frontal. Oh, yeah. And I'm not saying don't take a frontal if it's a good shot, but that is a really good tip.
100%. I don't know how many, because I'm very reluctant to take a frontal, just because I know my mental status during the shot. It's like I'm way too wigged out right now to be shooting anything frontal. Like it's got to be broadside and close, and like my top pin, and like I got to know. Other times, not so much, but a lot of times it's that way, and I have that self-awareness. But I hear a lot. I've got buddies, I know people. They're like, "Yeah, the bull come in. I had no other chance. I had no other opportunity. He come in, stop frontal, and looked straight at me. I had to shoot then." But I've had that happen a lot. They'll come in, they'll look at you, they'll burn a hole right through you, looking for that other bull. They're like looking through you. They're not looking at you. They're looking through you, and they're kind of like stop, and they focus, and they look around, and then they'll kind of blink, and then you can see their face relax a little bit, and then they kind of start coming again, and then they'll get to 10 yards and like go semi broadside.
Yeah.
Had that happen a lot.
It's wild how much you can actually get away with visually on elk. Like I've had cows that'll come into cow calls and scenarios, like cow call on my way into bulls, and literally get this close, and it's like she's staring literally into my face, and just turn, keep eating. Like you can, if you're patient, you really can get away with a lot.
Yeah. And then there's been opportunity or instances where I'll be walking along. I've been hearing bull over here bugling, and I'm like trying to get to him, and I'll bump another elk on the way to him, and you bump a bull on the way to him, let's say, and they'll like bark and run off. Man, I bark right at them and then keep advancing. And anytime they bark, I keep barking. And a lot of times what they'll be like, "Oh, wait a minute." They don't trust their eyes. If you're out in the middle of a big field, a meadow, that's not going to work. But if you're in timbered country where they just caught a glimpse of something, they're like, "Oh, shoot, there's something," they run off. Then if you can bark at them, I've had this happen too, but you bark and then pretty soon they're like, "Wait a minute," and they just come back out to kind of get a peek at you, and then whammo.
So when you're advancing on these bulls in this scenario, you're only advancing on them as they're walking away. I mean, you're moving as fast as you can, breaking all the stuff you can, as they're walking away. But then you see them start to turn, then you're freezing up, right?
Yep. Red light,
and then if you have to do it again, you have to do it. So that's what you mean for the listeners. Red light, green light.
Yep. As soon as they turn their head to look at you, that's red light. When they turn their head to go and they start taking a step to leave, that's green light. You just go.
Yep. And do not worry about being quiet.
Right. Yeah, I'm not being quiet. If anything, I'm making intentionally trying to make extra noise.
Yep.
I was calling a bull for a buddy in Wyoming here, 2018. My buddy Trent. There's this bull, and man, we'd played with this thing for an hour, and he would just come, but he would just never get into bow range. And it was an old burn. And then he kind of went up over the backside of this ridge, and we all made a move, and I was trying to circle around to get into position where I could call him across. And I was crossing this log, and I tripped, and it had a whole bunch of branches. I tripped, and man, I went just butt over tea kettle through all the dead branches, making it sound like I heard an elk running. It was just crash, crash, crash. I'm like, "Oh, dang it." And so then I screamed right as soon as I did it, mostly out of pain, because man, I had blood coming out of my shins. And that bull exploded and came at a dead run, just came right down the ridge. And Trent shot him at frontal at like 25 yards. But
so awesome.
So yeah, noise is your friend. I have a buddy, we've hunted together, and he's just like, that elk, he heard you coming through the brush. He knew you were a guy. He knew you weren't another elk. I'm like, no, they don't know. They hear that brush slapping and popping and swishing. They think you're an elk. No, I think I think he knew you weren't an elk. Like, no, it don't work that way.
I knew you were wearing size 10s.
I've literally just been walking through brush and not calling and had bulls come to me. Just they hear that, they're like, they want to come check it out. I said, was that a cow? Ooh.
Yeah, they're noisy animals.
Yeah.
They are not quiet. Okay, so we've kind of talked about a lot of that that early season. Now, when you get to mid-season, that's when you become more cow call reliant?
So I use them a lot more often.
Okay.
So during any time of year, it's all an experiment. So I will cow call early, but I'll also bugle early until I get them a reply. And whatever they reply to, it's like, okay, I'm sticking with that. Right. Most of the time, early, they will reply to the bugles. So then I cut out the cow calls. I might even leave a cow call every now and then just to be like, there's a cow up here. There might be a reason to come up or come over here. But as the month continues, as bulls are with cows now, I'm going to use the cow calls more in between bugles. So let's say I bugle and a bull answers. I'm going to cow call next. I'm going to meow, meow, meow. I'm going to cow call to the bull's bugle. And then I'm going to wait a little bit, and then I'm going to bugle it again. I want to reply to him right away with cow calls in that first part of that scenario to like say, we're cows. We like the way you sound. This guy's a jerk. Come over. That's kind of what the picture I'm trying to paint. I don't know if that's what elk think, but I think it kind of is maybe. And as
seems to work.
And as they like start like answering, like whenever they answer me and then I cow call, eventually as things heat up with our discussion, a lot of times I'll cow call and then they'll bugle right back again at the cow calls. Like I'll cow call and then bam, they'll answer those cows. And then that's when I get aggressive. And they usually sound pretty aggressive at that point when they bugle like that. And I'll get aggressive and I'll cut them off. Like, don't you talk to my cows. And a lot of times that's the deal sealer. When they start actively bugling to my cow calls hard and I start cutting them off, that's when here they come.
So you're talking about aggressive. Show me how that changes in your bugle, that aggression.
So I go from this to aggressive. I go from to
the voice inflection, that emotion that you're putting into.
So you basically shorten it up. Try to make it as loud as you can. If your reed distorts and sounds weird, it's okay. Elk do that too. They kind of sound weird sometimes and they get mad. But you put a little more voice inflection in it and you shorten it up.
Okay.
Yep.
You were just talking about his mama.
Yeah. He said you insulted his mom and his sister and all them girls over there. You said some bad things.
Right. And that's after that bull starts talking to the cows that you've implied you have.
And usually they're kind of making some pretty aggressive sounding bugles too to the cows.
Yeah.
So then that's when I pick it up. I try not to like escalate too soon. I want to let them escalate first, and then I'll match their intensity.
Okay. So those cow calls that you're making towards that bull, are you using some pleady cow calls, trying to talk to that bull to kind of get some emotion out of him to start that?
Yeah. A lot of people use a lot of fancy cow calls. They do a buzz or estrus buzz, they call it, or whatever they want to call these things. So here's my cow calls. Most of the time they sound like this. Cow and calf calls. Those are just plain Jane, soft cow and calf calls. But whenever I'm calling to that other bull, I do this. Just longer, drawn out. Yeah. Now, I don't know what that means. I just know that I've had a lot of really good luck by doing it like that. Some people say, they know all these different what the elk are saying by their different vocalizations. I've been doing this, what I said, 36 years?
Long time.
A lot. And I've spent every September in the woods.
Right. And
I can't say that every sound that an elk makes, oh, I know what that means. To me, I just think I go off intensity. How intense is he talking right now? Does he sound not really pissed? I kind of think, well, he's just saying I'm not really that mad. When he sounds like super intense, like, well, I think he's getting mad or really wants that cow to come over, demanding that cow to come to him.
Right. You're playing off emotion more.
Emotion, yeah. Okay. Some guys will say, never chuckle or grunt to an elk. But in my opinion, that's dumb. That's not real. If that was true, I wouldn't have killed hardly any of the bulls. In fact, there's bulls. That's all I've ever done is they would chuckle. That's all they would do is chuckle. Mm-hmm. I would chuckle back, and then I'd call them in through that. Like,
do you know why that is? Because there are those bulls out there that is all they want to do is just chuckle.
I don't know all
day long. I don't know why either. But I was hoping a world champion elk caller could tell me why. Because I don't know. There is those. Just it's an anomaly almost. There is the bulls out there that all they want to do is chuckle.
And I think sometimes it seems to me, in a lot of those instances where there's a bull that all they want to do is chuckle, a lot of times they're a younger, like a 2.5, 3.5-year-old bull, and they seem a little bit timid. Like some of the ones that have been around, they seem pretty timid. Like, and maybe they just haven't got their good bugle voice yet.
Yeah, could be.
Like some of these, I've seen 4 points before. Like it's a 2.5-year-old bull. They'll try to bugle, and they'll go. They'll make this weird puberty bugle, like a 13-year-old schoolboy trying to, hello,
I can make that
over there. They'll make this weird bugle, and they're like, I've seen them do it, and they're like, they kind of make it like, oh wow, that sounded terrible.
That was bad.
And then they go back to chuckle in that weird little quick chuckle.
Oh, that reminded me of the scenario I had. A buddy of mine was calling for me, and we had the 6-point that I was working in on, and I'm usually the caller and when I hunt with him, and he's not much of an elk bugler, and he lets out the exact same bugle, and I literally look over my shoulder. He's like 75 yards behind me, and he goes, I don't know.
It surprised me.
That's exactly what I picture those bulls doing when that happens.
Your buddy just needs to practice more, and it's like 5-10 minutes a day.
I'll be sending this to him because I tell him every day.
Yeah,
remind him.
Just practice 5-10 minutes on the way to work or whatever.
That's exactly when I do it in the pickup.
Yep.
And my wife can't yell at me.
Yep. Because if you do that 5-10 minutes a day, by September you throw that diaphragm in your mouth, and your brain don't have to think like, okay, where's that special spot where I put it in my mouth where it's going to sound right? How hard do I blow it? It's like at that point you've worked out all those kinks, and it's just automatic. You just like, it's muscle memory. You know how to do it, and you're not going to surprise yourself when you start making sounds.
Yeah. Well, back to chuckles. Bulls do you experience this in an age class? The bulls that will like let a really big scream out and then chuckle. Does that mean anything to you in particular?
So I define like chuckles as that really quick. Mm-hmm. I'll do it real quick.
Yep.
I'll do chuckles, then I'll do grunts.
Grunt. Okay.
To me, that's a chuckle. Mm-hmm. Okay. But a grunt is. They're more long, more pronounced, right? More deliberate. To me, the more mature bulls are, they seem to do more grunts. It seems like that's how they do it more. And it seems like the younger they are, they do a lot of those chuckles. Right. And they can sound really, especially if it's like a really young bull that it's like really quick and kind of weird sounding. Now, big bulls will, like mature bulls, they will chuckle too, but a lot of times, most of the time they're doing like the grunting, as I call it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, one guy might say, oh, he's chuckling. He's chuckling at his cows, or he's chuckling with this, or he's chuckling at that, or he's grunting for this. I don't really know what they're saying, honestly. I just know that, man, sometimes those big bulls, when they give a big ripper scream and a bunch of thunderous grunts, that's what I'm going to do too.
And you've seen that from mature bulls.
Oh yeah,
at the
I see that more. Yeah, okay. But there can be some pretty ticked off 5 points that sound like pretty good. He's got some pretty good growl to his voice, and he grunts pretty good. He's not doing that chuckly thing. I'm like, man, that might just be a pretty good bull. And you get over there and it's like, no, that guy's just, he's started bugling like August 15th. He's been bugling for a month and a half. He just mad. Yeah. I don't think he's going to make it through bow seasons.
That's a freezer filler right there.
He gets close to me. I'm probably going to shoot him.
I love it. Dirk, how many world championships have you won calling out?
6.
6 of them. So 6
in the men's division, not the pro division. I've never won any in the pro division, just the men's amateur.
6-time world champion elk caller. Been archery hunting elk for 35 plus years. Hunting elk for even longer than that. You've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
Talk to me about something that you really struggle with.
Man, staying in shape, being fit, eating all the right stuff. That's a huge struggle for me. Summertime, barbecues, and man, you make a hamburger, man. Like you eat the low carb or the keto or the carnivore. It's like, all right, I'm gonna eat this hamburger without a bun on it, and I mean, it's not fun.
No, it's not.
And I feel like how, and maybe it's how I was raised. Maybe everybody's raised like this, but when something great happened, like monumental for the family, some kid got good grades, or somebody did really well, got a new job, or some way to celebrate, you'd always feast. You'd have food. It's like, all right, we're gonna load up and eat food, and then when you're trying to eat strict, and like cool stuff happens, you're like, oh man, I still just get my hamburger patty, or ribeye is good too, but I don't get any baked potato. Or you go to Texas Roadhouse and you can't eat any of those little delicious rolls they have that you can eat like 87 of.
Those are sinful.
Oh, yeah, they're so good too.
They're amazing. I was in there one time, and there was a family sitting right across from us, and I think I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't be mean. That he probably should have been on the same diet as me at the time, but there was 4 of them. So man, wife, 2 kids. Each one of them had their own basket of rolls.
Oh boy!
Oh man!
Oh boy!
I was like, wait, you can do that?
Sign me up.
And they got some to go as well.
Yeah, can I get a box of them?
Yeah.
But I struggle with that a lot. It's tough. And then back when I was younger, you could hunt yourself into shape pretty easy, And I spent 18 years working at a super physical job to where I didn't really need to work out or anything. I just, I worked for, slinging tires, worked for Les Schwab for 18 years. So, I was probably walking 10 miles a day and on concrete and lifting heavy things.
And those guys hustle.
Oh, yeah. A lot of times you're running, so I was in good shape, and it didn't take much to get into mountain shape. But the older, now I got a sedentary job. You sit around, and then it's kind of like, man, I need to go to the gym. Go to the gym. There's a bunch of people clogging up the machines. And you're like, man, home gym is what I need.
Yeah.
But anyway, I struggle with that. Sometimes in the off season, I struggle. My wife says, you got seasonal depression. Like every time the season changed, then she'll be like, yeah, seasons are changing. I'm like, oh, shut up, shut your mouth.
That is really that's a real thing. That absolutely happens.
Yeah. After hunting season, I'll come home, we'll wrap up, I'll have some time to wind down, reflect, and enjoy. But then you kind of get in that depression slump, and then it's like, oh man, and then kind of what takes a little while, and then things kind of straighten out, and then it's almost springtime, and then you get it's like a seasonal depression thing.
How do you get yourself out of that? I mean, have you done certain things while you're in it? Well, me, I hate, and I think they're in those seasonal change things. I feel like I'm indoors a lot. Yeah. There's nothing going on. Like I'm stuck inside. I'm kind of got cabin fever almost. And I think if I'm on the move all the time, if I'm like driving here, driving there, sightseeing, going here, going there, if I'm on the move all the time, I'm pretty happy and I'm pretty content. But man, if I'm just like
sitting, like nothing to do, like got nothing. It's, February and there's no end in sight. Like, man, what am I going to do till bear season or turkey season? You kind of get stale. So just getting out of the house and going and doing stuff.
Yeah, that vitamin D
makes a huge difference.
The sun makes a huge difference.
Do you supplement that during the winter?
No.
Have you tried that?
No, I should.
I've had very positive results from that. Being former law enforcement, when I would do shift work and work nights, like actually taking a vitamin D supplement made a big difference for me. Yeah. Because when you're not out in the sun and you're cooped up, it really does affects me.
Yeah. I've got one of those lights that you can sit in front of.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I was not a believer until I started using it. And I did it for a solid couple of weeks. It was like in January or something. It was kind of gloomy out. We were right in the middle of an inversion, and I did that. I'd sit there and drink my coffee at 5 a.m. or whatever, and I would sit in front of that light, and I could tell a difference.
Really?
It made my days a lot better. And of course, I mean, I do my devotion. I do that first thing, and I pray a lot more during the winter time, it seems like,
right.
Because I can tell I'm affected by it too. I think everybody is affected
totally
a little bit by that. That vitamin D is pretty important, but I don't know, in my world, I think prayer's a lot more important. And that sure helps.
I need it. I know that.
It sure helps me. So, but you ought to try one of those lights.
Yeah. I was listening to that Andrew Huberman podcast, and he talks about people's morning routine. He's like, man, everybody gets up, we grab a cup of coffee first thing, and he's like, that chemically inside you, that completely screws up your day. Like, it throws everything off track. He's like, wait 60 to 90 minutes before you have your first cup of coffee. Which
is so hard to do.
Yeah. Oh, man. And he said, go outside, don't matter what weather. He said, go outside, look towards the sun, and stare at don't stare into the sun, but face the sun.
Now I know he's full of crap.
Right? But face the sun for 10 minutes. He's like, you'll be surprised at how good it makes you feel and makes you wake up and everything. And then 60 to 90 minutes, he's like, because he's a huge coffee guy too. He's like, wait 60 to 90 minutes, because then he's like, as you wake up, there's all this chemical stuff changing, like things are doing things inside. I wish I was smarter to be able to tell you how this all works. But basically, part of the process of waking up, if you drink the caffeine first thing, it stops that.
It affects your cortisol level, correct?
Yep.
So that's...
And then later in the day, you may struggle with staying awake and crashing and stuff. He's like, if you do this, he's like, try it for a week. He's like, you'll feel better in the afternoons.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I am not great about waiting the 60 to 90 minutes.
Not either.
But in the summer, I'm usually, because I get up early enough, like I'll do my devotions outside this time of year, and that makes a huge difference. Like it's actually light enough at 5 a.m. that I can see a little bit, and it's not pitch black like in the winter. So I don't know if it's summer related or if it's the fact that I'm getting out in the morning, but I try to drink my electrolytes with at least 15 to 30 ounces of water before my coffee. Usually that goes down in about 15 minutes just so I can get to my coffee.
Get through this.
But,
yeah, exactly. So you were working at Les Schwab 18 years, right?
Yep.
So what are you doing now?
So, right after Les Schwab, I worked at Night Force Scope Optics for 9 years. And then now I work at Phelps Game Calls as marketing manager. Yeah. That's my title, but I do tons of other stuff there.
You wear lots of hats.
Lots of hats, depending on the day.
Same way around here.
You have to, right?
Yeah,
right?
You do. And that's been for how long? Since
2019.
Awesome. Yeah. What's new at Phelps Game Calls right now?
Man, this elk has been our big category this year. You guys have probably seen the carbon fiber bugle tube that came out. We have this new cow call called the Easy One. That's an external call. It's similar to the Easy Sucker that came out, which was an inhale call. You suck in air. Well, turns out some people are like, I'm not coordinating. I don't like to inhale to make the call. Some people, I think, thought they would. I heard comment like, I don't want to inhale a pine needle or dust. Okay.
Or whatever else it
Okay.
might be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we listened. So
I did not inhale.
I did not inhale that woman. So anyhow, we make this external one, and it's about 2/3 the size of that easy sucker, and you blow on it, and then it's got a lanyard, a retractable lanyard. You can hang it on your bino harness or your pack
I need to
or
get
whatever.
one of those.
Yeah, they're pretty slick. The sound profile, people they ask me, do you use that one or do you use the easy sucker? I'm like, I don't really use it. I did during prototyping and whatnot, but during hunting, the sound profile, because the internal reed is the same thing as a diaphragm. It's a little latex reed in there, so it has the same sound profile as a diaphragm. So if I carry a different kind of call besides a diaphragm, I want it to sound substantially different. I want it to have a different sound profile. So like an external bite and blow, old school type of, open reed call. I like to carry one of those for a cow call just because it's dramatically different sounding than a diaphragm.
Yeah. And what's the one you guys sell?
So we have the Easy Estrus, which is a bigger one, and then we have the Mini X.
The Mini X.
The Mini X, and I really like the Mini X. The Easy Estrus is great. It's got a very natural, mellow, sexy tone.
That's good.
But the Mini X, it's a little bit more sharper tone, a little bit more, I don't know how to say it, but it's easier to blow. It's got a smaller tone board. That's where you put your lips, the little place you put your lips. It's smaller. It's just so much easier to control for me. And I've always kind of struggled with those open reed calls. So, I wanted the one that's the easiest, especially if you get nervous or you're out of breath. It's hard to get a good, you can really blow that thing wrong and sound like a duck quacking or whatever if you're all amped up or out of breath. So it's just easier for me to call. So I like that Mini X, but that's what I pack.
So if you're wanting to get into elk calling, for our listeners out there, and let's say you've tried the diaphragm, you have a gag reflex, you can't do it for some reason, you don't spend enough time practicing or something like that. Sounds like that's a good, what would you recommend for them as far as a good alternative to a diaphragm?
So that Easy Sucker, the Easy One, and that open reed, the Easy Estrus and the Mini X, all those are great for people who can't use a diaphragm because, some folks can't use them for various reasons. It tickles their tongue, or they get a gag reflex, or some people, the roof of their mouth is just shaped, different. They have a narrow palate or really deep palate. So they've tried all the different diaphragms there is, and they just cannot get it to work. That's why we made those calls, is so those folks could have an alternative, even like dentures, that'll foul you up if you're trying to use a diaphragm. So, and then as far as bugling goes, so we have that Easy Bugler mouthpiece, which comes on the carbon tube, it comes on the Unleashed V2, and it comes on the metal bugle tube as well. And so instead of using your tongue to bugle with on a diaphragm, what you're doing is you're putting that Easy Bugler, you're resting on your lower lip, and you're blowing on it, and it sounds great.
And you're just still controlling the tension
with your lip,
and
how much air. Yeah.
Okay.
And where people they'll get that thing and they'll kind of go wrong with it is in everyone's mind, like, okay, an elk is a big animal, it's really loud, so I have to blow this thing super hard and super loud. Well, when you do that, especially if you pinch pretty hard with your lip, it makes a weird squawk. It just it makes a weird squawk. But doing it's you have to do less. Yeah, blow. Try less hard. You're trying way too hard, and they're like, "What do you mean?" No, try less effort, less tension with your lip, less air pressure. I tell people I should have brought one of those things to give a demonstration what it sounds like. But basically, I say put your lips on it and just make this noise go, and just let your lip rest. Your bottom lip rest on that latex and just go, and I have my lips slightly together. And by doing that, and there's zero tension. There's just my lip is barely touching the latex, and it's just making that very low sound. And I get that first growl. And once you get that first growl, down, it's really easy. Oh, look at that. Chase found one.
Look at that.
Look at
Chase
this guy.
is the real MVP here.
All right. So you basically put your lips on there, make that first growl. Just
feel it.
It's barely even touching my lip. And I'm just hardly making any air pressure go. So then once I get that first note, then I'm going to tighten up my lower lip, and I'm going to brace up my core, my internal diaphragm, and I'm going to push more air across it. And then at the end, throw in your voice again and growl. Super easy once you kind of play with it. It does take some effort and work and practice.
5 to 10 minutes a day, right?
5-10 minutes a day. But if you can't use a diaphragm or don't want to use a diaphragm, some people just like, I don't want to spend that kind of time learn how to use a diaphragm. Yeah. They can use this. And
great alternative.
Yeah, it's a great alternative.
I like it.
So do you have I'm assuming you have videos showing how to use that, or people that are listening to this podcast can actually go to our YouTube channel and see it there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you can check out the Phelps YouTube channel. There's a video that says the Easy Bugler or whatever. I just put on there I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay, perfect.
That kind of walks you through, talking about people's struggles, and then I show you how to use it. And then to chuckle. Like a lot of external bugles really struggle with a chuckle or a grunt because they're just, the design or whatever just doesn't lend itself to good. But when we came up with this, we were like, it's whatever we'd make it, you have to be able to chuckle with it because you want to sound like an elk. So basically, all you have to do, if you can say the word puh,
Puh.
puh, puh,
Okay.
puh, puh, right? If you say that, that's the noise you make. So what I say is you put the tube out here, and then you start saying the word puh, 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 and then slowly move the call into your mouth until you find the sweet spot. It's kind of weird, but you'll it's easy to find the right spot. So you say puh, 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 puh.
Would you look at that?
Wow.
That is so easy to
Yeah,
Right.
it is.
And if you want to get like more advanced, you can, but it's all back to that puh, 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 puh. You're just depends on how much air you're putting into it.
That's a great tip
That
right
was
there.
awesome.
Now, do you hold that to the right or the left? Sorry.
I know. Old Rick, bless his heart. I don't know if he was putting us on. I bet he went back to the house and be like,
He probably
got him.
did. He's laughing at
that guy couldn't have been thinking he was dead. He was serious as a heart attack.
Really?
I was like,
golly.
wow.
You never walk in and say, "Hey, Rick, how's it hanging?" Well, yesterday it was to the right, now it's to the left.
Yeah. that depending on which way you swing that thing, depends on what you're going to call in.
Well, Dirk, we end every show with some rapid fire.
Okay.
Before we get to that rapid fire, I'm going to pay some bills real quick. I am going to read a comment that was left on Spotify. This is going to become a regular thing. We really appreciate all the comments, all the 5-star reviews. That helps the algorithm drastically. So Ella Campbell, thank you. She said, "I love the prayer before each podcast. Keep it up." So Ella, thank you. And Dennis, you're up.
Okay, so the way we do this is it's just one word or the other. And it's real easy. We're going to do about 6 of them, and it could come from all directions. So,
and is there someone in the room that is like a psychology major that's going to make a profile of this?
Maybe.
Okay.
You didn't know I had
That non-disclosure that you signed, before you walked in here.
Are we going to do the ink blot test? What is that, the Horseshack test?
Oh, yeah. So, pre-rut or peak rut?
I'd say peak rut.
Text or call?
Oh, for phone? Okay. Text.
Told you we were going all over the place. Ounce counter or comfort seeker?
Comfort seeker.
Black and white or gray?
Gray.
I like it. Caller or shooter?
I like to be the caller.
Figured that. Last one, pink or red?
Bro, that's easy, red.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. Dirk, where can listeners find you?
You can find me on Instagram. It's The Bugler, one word. YouTube channel, The Bugler, one word again. Don't have a lot of new content on there. All my new stuff goes to the Phelps Game Calls YouTube channel. So if you want to check out some of our newer hunts, the Phelps Game Call channel, Facebook, The Bugler. I even got, what is it called? TikTok? I even got the TikTok now.
Hey, you
letting those Chinese spy on me.
Hey, you remember that thought that I lost earlier in this episode about an hour and some change ago?
Did it fly back?
That's what it was. It wasn't the Poppy lawsuit. You could probably sell your phone for a lot of money because there's TikTok phones. If you've still got that app downloaded, I think they're worth quite a bit. You might get a bear hunt out of that.
Yeah, you never know. That's
I might have that app.
Light bulb. There you go. It's back.
Maybe sell. I could probably even sell some people's On-X pins that I know.
Oh, there you go. Now we're really thinking.
Yeah, Joe Blow Hunter shared these pins with me. How much you willing to pay for those?
That's right.
There you go.
Oh, I see a grizzly bear in your future.
Yeah. Well, Dirk, I have to ask you to close this thing with a lip ball. Your lip ball is probably my all-time favorite, so we got to close it the right way.
Okay. Well, I hope I don't disappoint you.
No pressure.
No. Yeah. A lot of build-up here.
Love it.
I felt that way down deep.
Yep. Well, let's go kill some elk, eh?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Thanks, Dirk.
Thank you.
Until next time, keep your eyes on the summit. This is the Mountain Dude Podcast, signing